Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Kyra Leroux about a season 2 part 1 of Firefly Lane, which recently dropped on Netflix. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
I mean, is it kind of sinking in that people are able to see what you've been working on? I mean, it's one of those weird things about playing the waiting game and now it's finally out, right?
Yes, it's been so cool to see like how it all translated. Like me and Roan and Allie had so much fun filming this season of Firefly Lane, and it honestly feels like it was so long ago. We started shooting in like September of 2021. So yeah, a while ago now, but it's really cool that it's out to see it all.
What can you tell me about like the audition process of being cast for this? I mean, did you know it was, really a big part of, the Kate Tully kind of work environment? Like, how much did you know about it specifically cast-wise?
I didn't know a lot. I knew about the show. I had actually auditioned for the show before. My very first audition for the show was for the role of Tully. And then I auditioned for a role in season 1, almost booked it. But I had a conflict and I was really disappointed that I wasn't able to do it. But then 2 years later, I got the call for Lisa Karen. And it was actually only supposed to be, I think, 2, maybe 4 episodes. But then it ended up turning into this 10-episode arc, and I basically became the mean girl or the bad guy of the whole 70s timeline. So yeah.
Or misunderstood? I feel like you think misunderstood is in there too, right?
Definitely.
Whoa, guys. Misunderstood. Well, I feel like it's one of those things too, where two things kind of come to mind with this character that I want to talk to you about. One, the aesthetic is huge, right? Kind of diving back into that kind of era and everything. I mean, the hairstyle that you had,
yes,
and everything.
The hair.
So what was that whole process like for you, kind of getting into that kind of era and everything?
It was really awesome. I mean, the costumes and the hair, it helps a lot. The team on Firefly Lane does such a good job of like the detail is so specific. So it really like the whole set just transports you into that world, which is really cool.
And it's interesting too, because like I said, you like the mean girl and everything, but like misunderstood and everything. When do you start realizing the complexity of this character? Is it when you're reading the script for it, or is it when you're like actually going in and actually like shooting this stuff with, Rowan and Allie? Like, because I feel like this is the type of role that you can really kind of understand this role when you actually see it like on screen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of prep on this character before we started shooting, because I knew like, it's like, okay, people are either gonna like completely hate this character or they're gonna hate her so much that they love her, and I wanted them to be able to hate her so much that they loved her. So it was just about adding in those layers of like, okay, why is she so annoying? Like, why does she feel the need to just like bother them so much? Like, what is it about her that is so awesomely annoying?
It's interesting too, because especially in season 2, there is this arc and kind of journey for like young Kid and young Tully, where there's certain things they're kind of dealing with and try to figure out. And then here's your character kind of like around just kind of like as a disruptor a little bit. Did it feel like that sometimes, like getting in the way of the storyline?
Absolutely. Like literally in all of the scenes, I just get to come in and like do whatever I want to stir the pot, and then they just have to deal with it. So it's kind of like the best position to be in, especially as an actor, because like those are the most fun characters to play.
Yeah, absolutely. You also have worked on Riverdale, which is pretty awesome as well. Do you like know what you're getting yourself into when you sign on to a project like this, knowing that it is this? But like, no, I'm like serious about this, because I feel like you can there's only so much you can do to prepare, and it might not even prepare you enough.
That's very true. There's When I first got Riverdale, I thought that I was just gonna be in 1 or 2 episodes as the first girl on the football team, and I was not prepared for what was about to happen. I've been on the show for 3 years now, and I've, like, worked in the mines, and I've been part of the school choir, and I've danced on the show, and I've performed magic, and I've been Cheryl's little minion and done her dirty work, and went into dreams and been possessed and
A
been tied
lot.
up twice in one episode. Like, it's just like the list literally goes on. So, I mean, I was a fan of the show before getting on it, so I knew kind of what I was getting into, but like, there's just no predicting when I read the script, like what I'm gonna get to do that episode.
I feel like it's one of like handful of shows. Like I feel like you can list like the most you could probably list is like 20 that literally have like a like global, like everywhere fan base. You know what I mean by that? Like it's
Yeah, yeah, and it's really cool because I didn't join the show until season 5, so, like, when the show came out, I had nothing to do with it yet, and
Yes.
I grew up reading the comics. Like, I have,
Yep.
like, 30 Betty and Veronica comics in my room still.
Yeah.
Um, so it's so cool. It now that I'm on the show, it just feels like it's been supposed to happen for so long.
Getting back to Firefly Lane, this is a question that might seem like a tough question because there's so many kind of answers to it. And like you might
Right.
say yes, you might say no, but is it a challenge to be part of a flashback, in your opinion? Because there is kind of what you said, getting it like the mindset of getting back into the character, but kind of like knowing that like there might or might not be someone playing you older. Like I feel like the whole thing could be seen as a challenge a little bit, right, Kyra?
Definitely. Well, for me, I don't have like Lisa Karen doesn't have an older counterpart
No.
in the other timelines. So I just had to do like whatever I wanted basically and
Yes.
just have to
But in
base my
theory, there
mannerisms
was
off.
she gets older, right? Which I find is fun too.
Yeah, but luckily I didn't have to base my mannerisms or anything off of
Yeah.
anybody else. Um, but if I did have to do that, it would have been challenging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like it's interesting because that show does a very good job of splitting the pat like well, it's like the young Tully and Kate and the old like what did you call it? Did you call it past present? Did you call it like old new? Like what was it referred to? I talked to Rowan and Ali about this too, and there wasn't any like clear cut like decision.
On set, we call it like the era that it is. So like we're shooting the 70s today.
Okay.
Like is what we would say on set. Or like they're shooting the 2000s over
Okay,
in,
70s
you
and
know,
2000s. Okay.
Horseshoe Bay where
Yeah,
they
I think the show
or
does
like whatever.
I think the show does a really good job of like balancing like the 70s and the 2000s and how they kind of relate to and everything. And I just feel like the ones that we always have questions about are the 70s because that kind of where it all started. You know what I mean? You're seeing all this conflict with them
It's like
older.
the origin story.
Exactly. Do you think we crave origin stories because we're interested in like the making of things and the behind the scenes and everything? You look at all these podcasts and everything. People love diving back in time to see kind of how things were kind of created, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so cool to see like the childhood or the making of these
Yes.
characters that we love. It's kind of like our real lives too. I mean, I feel like our whole lives are just like thinking about, okay, what did happen in my childhood, and then why am I the way that I am? And then we love to see that reflected in the characters that we love.
That's so well said, actually. You're obviously acting on Firefly Lane. Like people see you like on camera and everything. But I feel like a lot of people are also like storytellers like yourself. They're going behind the camera as well. They're writing, they're directing, they're producing. They want to wear many hats. Obviously, maybe acting is something you're really focusing on. But do you want to kind of go behind the camera and like write and produce as well? Or are you focusing mainly on acting?
I would love to. Right now I'm focusing on acting, but it's funny that you say that because I'm working on a theater show right now. Because I love theater as well, and musical theater is like where my heart lives. But the other day I said something in rehearsal, and the director just looks at me and she goes, "I see directing in your future."
Which is awesome. Yeah, I didn't star in my high school productions, but I was stagehand and I was like follow spot
Oh, cool.
operator.
Yeah.
There is something so special about the day, like the day of a performance, isn't there? Like the day, like not even like a couple hours before, but you wake up in the morning, you like make breakfast, you're like, well, we're performing tonight. There's like this energy, right?
Yeah, and that's why I love theater too. It's just like the energy that you can't duplicate that and anywhere else. It's like there's only that one experience, and every night it's different because the audience is different.
Yeah, it's so crazy. That I didn't even think about that. You're doing the same show. That is so interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
but the energy in the room is totally different. It's like
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you can't recreate it ever.
Oh,
it's
man.
that one thing.
Yeah, the audience is damn. That's a trip a little bit. I never thought about that. Because you're doing the same production but with different audiences. So there's gonna be.
Yeah.
Do you ever have situations? Did you ever have situations where like someone would like gasp at something that like you fed off the energy that you maybe didn't do in like another performance, and that ever happened?
Absolutely. And stuff like that even happens on set where like, you'll like drop something one take and it'll actually like make for an awesome moment, or you'll like walk into the door and like that's the take that they keep because those are the moments that you just like you can't recreate them.
Oh no, that's so good. That is so awesome though about the different audiences for the shows. It's like you'd be performing like a week worth of shows.
Yeah.
And then that's crazy to me. No, that's good. Before we wrap up, they're gonna get a chance to see season 2, part 1 of Firefly Lane streaming worldwide now on Netflix. When they get a chance to watch it, Kyra, what are you hoping they get out of it, takeaway wise, specifically this season?
Specifically this season, and for me specifically the 70s timeline, because that's what I'm a part of. I just hope it reminds people of what they were like when they were teenagers. Like I feel like it really captures the energy of just that being a little bit unsure but just being really excited for the future.
Yeah.
And just all of like the teenage kind of turmoil that happens when you're that age, and how it turns it ends up so beautiful in the end, and how you go through all of that and you come out of it with just like a new perspective. So
absolutely,
I hope people are reminded by their own childhood.
That's so well said. Kyra, thank you so much for joining me on Popternative. It was so great chatting with you.
Yeah, it was so great to chat with you too. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Is your Instagram account just your name? Is it Kyra Leroux?
It is. It's Kyra_Leroux.
Okay, so they could check that out and everything behind the scenes and all that. And
absolutely,
they can watch season 2, part 1 of Firefly Lane now on Netflix. And if they have watched it already, you know what they could do, right? They can watch it again.
Exactly.
Like, just go and watch it again. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Till next time, this is Kyra Leroux and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.